Hey, everybody. Welcome to this week's Voices of Resilience, the place where we talk about the people and things that help all of us be more resilient for ourselves, for each other, and for the communities we're a part of. My name is Erik Muckey. I am the CEO and Executive Director of Lost&Found. For those of you who may not be familiar with Lost&Found is a Sioux Falls-based 501c3 nonprofit that facilitates comprehensive data-driven strategies for suicide prevention for young adults 15 to 34. I'm really excited to have a wonderful guest with me today by the name of Crystal Hutson. So say hello to the folks on this live stream. Crystal, welcome. Really thankful for your time today, and really thankful for you joining us. Would you care to introduce yourself and share a little bit about your background?
Yeah, no problem at all. Thank you, Erik, so much for inviting me to this. Hi, everyone. My name is Crystal Hutson. I am currently the Director of Student Activities and Programs at Peru State College here in Nebraska. What I do is I work with students on helping them to become more engaged and feel more acclimated as they come into college. So that's through providing a variety of programs to help them feel more at home, or providing them with a variety of professional development opportunities just to get them to start seeing the different things that they can do in college outside of just academics, and help them to find their passions and to grow and to become the better person within themselves. Some other things that I do, I actually do a lot of things. So outside of my work here at Peru State College, I also own an online boutique. So I am an entrepreneur, but that comes from me getting my degree in fashion. So I have a master's in apparel product development, merchandising technology. So I'm a little bit on the creative side in that aspect, and then with the events as well. But then I'm also a student. I'm currently a second master's student, so I'm getting another master's as well. And I'm getting that in higher education because I love the field of working with college students and seeing them grow from their freshman year and seeing them develop into the seniors and the professionals that they are as they transition into graduation.
Awesome. Glad to have you on, Crystal. And for the folks who are joining us today, really the main topic and one of the biggest reasons why we have Crystal on with us today in Voices of Resilience is we're thinking about the year 2021. Obviously, we've been through a lot of challenges. 2020 has presented probably more than anything we could have planned for. But as we're going into the year ahead, really thinking about what it means to rekindle our passions or come back to our passions and really begin to set a course for how to use the challenges we've had in 2020 and build upon those passions and define those passions for 2021 and build upon that. And so what the reason we want to talk about that today, of course, Crystal, is you're doing this work. You're doing this with your students, and you're really helping them navigate that. Can you tell us a little bit about what that looks like and sort of how that might be helpful to us as we're starting out a new year?
Yes, so any student during this time, not just college students, 2020 was a very strange year for all of us. And it's not unique to the college setting, but working here at a college, it's always been very interesting to help students maintain their passion as they come in as wide-eyed freshmen, excited about everything. They want to get involved in everything, and then transitioning throughout their years and seeing sometimes that passion for certain things diminishes because of outside influences or themselves with circumstances that they have. They may lose the motivation to continue on. But what I do a lot of is I meet with a lot of students, not only to present them with activities and events to help them become more acclimated. I also do a lot of mentoring with students because they come from various backgrounds, and just learning about how they experience their education or what their values are. It helps me to develop plans to help them maintain that passion and drive to continue on. So in the college setting, we see a lot of students that change their major a bunch of times, or they're not doing well in a class, so they feel that, okay, this isn't for me because I'm not doing well in this class. But the thing is, it may not be them. It may not be a problem that's coming based on them. It may be the style in which the material is being taught. So you may be a kinesthetic learner, but everything is just reading, and you don't have any hands-on pieces to your education. So I think that that's a big thing with students in general, is figuring out, learning about yourself and the best way that you learn and what motivates you, and what you need to continue to have to maintain that motivation, and implementing that into whatever you're doing every day. So
tell me a little bit about this. So as you're going through the process, which sounds like I'm thinking about my own college experience, I would have been extremely thankful to have had that kind of support from you, thinking about sort of how to make those plans, how to make things kind of stick. What are some of the things that keep students from being able to live that out, or live out their passion, I should say?
Yeah. So some things that one of the most common things that I see is their past background or their home life. There's a lot of students that come to campus from a variety of backgrounds. Some are from rural, some are from urban, some are from international cities, and education may not be the push for all of those environments. And so the students stepping out to go to college, they're making a commitment to, hey, education is important to me, and this is what I want to do. But sometimes they don't have that support from their family and friends. And so they question them when something goes wrong, or especially during this time of COVID-19, a lot of sometimes that family support is not there, because they're saying, hey, well, this is hard, or you're struggling. I think you should just come home, or, oh, you can just work for a year, or you can take time off. And that's okay if that's the path that you wanted to take. But there's a lot of outside influences that are making students feel like, oh, well, maybe I should take a year off, or, oh, maybe I shouldn't be in school, or this isn't the major that I should be taking. And so I've seen that with a lot of students, that there's a lot of outside influences. So I'm going to say, even thinking about myself going through college, not during a pandemic, but I've questioned sometimes what I wanted to do because of something that somebody else said. When I was in undergrad, I had a fashion degree. I had a minor in business administration, but the only reason why I had that minor was because someone told me, oh, I don't think that fashion, that doesn't look like you. You look like a business person. I think that you should be a business person. I was like, oh, well, maybe I should be a business person. So I was like, I'm going to add business administration. And it just wasn't for me at all. I did end up changing that minor to marketing, which is more of my area, but it was because of somebody else projecting onto me what they felt that I should be doing. It made me question what I was doing. I was like, okay, well, maybe I should do that. And I think that I see that a lot with students, because even if it's not their family, their friends, they're like, oh, you play sports, you should be a coach. And they're like, oh, maybe I should be a coach. But actually they wanted to be a doctor. And so I think that that's a big thing that we see and it's pretty frequent and often that happens.
Well, I think we can all relate to the getting, pulled off the different path. Mm-hmm. I don't know that I would have said, hey, you should still be in business, Crystal. Definitely should still be in business. But no, we won't go down that path. It's interesting, though, as you're thinking about some of these external influences, because I know we can all relate to this, whether we're in high school, college, not in school at all, in the workforce, or whatever stage of life we're in. We all deal with external forces. So as you're thinking about how to help students who are navigating that, what does it look like from your perspective, or what are some tips that you share to help students kind of come back to their grounding, or what their sort of North Star is, if you will?
Yeah. So one thing that I'm really big on is I don't like to project things onto students. So I don't tell them what they need to do. I'm more of the ask the question thing. So I kind of pull it out of them to make their own decisions. And that's the same thing, college, or if you're in high school or middle school, that's the best way to get you to start thinking about what your path should be. So one of the big things, or the big questions that I ask the students is, okay, so like, why did you start? Why, like, what is your why to why you wanted to do this? So why was it that you decided to take that major, or to join that organization, or to go to that state, or why is it that you started that? Then we start the conversation of, okay, after we figure out what your why was, what has changed since then, to start evaluating, okay, whether that's you personally, because you can change what your passions are, that they change quite frequently, but seeing if it's truly something that you decided that you wanted to do, or if it was something that was projected onto you. So I ask students a lot of questions on getting them to start thinking back to why was the original thought there. And then once we figure that out, let's process and figure out, okay, so what are some active steps that we can take? You may be deviating from getting to your passion straight off. So there's different paths to get to your goals and your passions, or whatever your dreams are. Sometimes it's a straight shot. You go, you have a point A, point B, point C, but sometimes you have point A1, point A2, then back to point 2, and it goes back around. So figuring out that best path for the students, so then that way you can continue on. So I think it's a big thing. Just figure out your passions and what is your why. Like, always revert back to why you started.
It's a really great insight. Thank you for sharing that. And as we're kind of going through here, just to kind of give us a chance to take a quick breather, I do want to share something that we share every week, which is a little bit of information about our sponsors. Each week, this conversation comes live on Facebook and on YouTube. If you're following us on YouTube, please subscribe if you haven't already. But we're thankful for really great sponsors in the Sioux Falls Metro, American Bank and Trust, as well as the Twin Cities region, the Astor Family Foundation based in Rochester, Minnesota. Thanks to their financial contributions, these conversations are possible, and we're able to come to you each week with insights on what it means to be resilient, how to address mental health concerns, and really kind of bringing some reality and some humanity to these conversations we have as a communities, as states, as a country about mental health. And so thanks to our sponsors from American Bank and Trust and Astor Family Foundation. You had a really good thought here, Crystal, when you're talking about your why. What does that look like for you? What is your why as to what you do, or why you're on the path that you're on?
Yeah, so I have a lot of different whys, but I guess I can answer to the why am I here working at a college when I originally got a degree in fashion. My why is that I really I want to better the world. I want to find some way to better the experience for everyone, no matter what it is that they want to do. So I have a passion for developing, and I picked college age students because I feel like that was an integral age for me to develop into the woman that I am today. So my why is because I see the potential, and someone saw the potential in me. And so I want to be able to bring that into any college student that comes to campus. I want them to see the potential in themselves. And if they feel like they don't have the tools that they need, I want to encourage them that you don't have to have everything when you go to college. There's ways to do it with nothing. You can start with nothing and have the world. You can start with the world and have nothing. It's just up to you and what you want to do, and what work you're going to put in to be able to do it. So I think that's my biggest why is somebody saw the drive in me to do great, and they pushed me to challenge myself and to keep going and to be a mentor and a role model for a lot of younger students while I was in undergrad and in my master's program, that now I want to do that for other students to help them to be more student leaders and prepare them for life after college. So
I love that. Thank you for sharing that and kind of digging into that a little bit, especially as we think about sort of the world we're in right now and thinking about how this environment plays out for students. And I really I think we always try to take sort of a broader approach with Voices of Resilience, in which we talk about our work as an organization, which is very much focused on college students. But we also know that there are a lot of young adults out there right now who might be in high school, but also might be out in the workforce right now too. And so one thing that we really try to focus on here is really talk about sort of what are the challenges of navigating mental health conditions and sort of where we might stumble, I guess, especially as we're looking to live out our why and live out our passion, and be able to know kind of how to sort of navigate through those things. So they're thinking about your students, what are some of the mental health conditions or concerns that you're seeing, and how are you going about helping them through that?
Okay. Yeah. So this is not unique to the time that we're in. This is something that we see across all college campuses all the time, is they struggle with stress and anxiety a lot. We have a lot of stress students, no matter if you're taking easy classes or not, there's always a lot of stress. And then there's the anxiety to want to do well and to be involved in things, or to social anxiety with meeting people. And there's so many different types of anxiety that can be added to a student. But what I work to do to help with that is to meet the students where they are. Sometimes stress comes because they want to participate in everything. So they like, you know what, I really want to I'm a straight A student. I'm already doing well in classes, but I want to get involved in everything. And so now they're joining a lot of organizations and they're taking on more responsibilities, and they feel like they can't say no, which that's a whole nother thing. And so they're adding on so many stresses to themselves. So instead of, for that type of student, I want to encourage them to keep joining things. I would help them to develop a schedule so they can join what they want to, but finding a way to balance out school and their social life and their time to relax, because that is a big thing. Sometimes you don't need to do anything. You just need to relax. So here on our campus, we provide a variety of ways to do that. We have some stress reliever activities. One thing that I really enjoy, we didn't get a chance to do it this year because of COVID, but we usually do a weekly yoga class that's free for our students. And I hadn't really gotten involved in yoga before, but it is relaxing. It's a workout too. So if you're thinking of yoga, it is a workout. It's not just all meditation and things. That's the end of it. But that has helped to relieve a lot of that stress for myself. And I see it in the students. They keep coming back because they're like, okay, you know what? I look forward to this Friday because we don't have classes on Fridays. So they're like, well, you know what? I'm just going to come and do yoga so I can relax and recharge for the next week. So that's some things that we do in that area. And then as far as anxiety, I actually, and you can't tell by me being on this live right now, but I have slight social anxiety, and I also am an extreme introvert. But the thing is with my position, I can't allow those characteristics to overtake me, because I need to be that person to help pull those students to get involved and show them that I can do it so they can do it. So what I try to do with a lot of the events that I host, and then just with students in general participating in things, I try to find activities that cater to the different styles of students. So if you do not like talking to people, and sometimes we have those days, I have those days sometimes.
Right here, yeah.
Like more passive activities that students can get involved in. Like right now, I'm outside my office. We have a tie-dye mask event. There's nobody set at the table, and you don't have to sit in groups. You just come, do your tie-dye mask, then you can go home, but you've participated. So adding in those different things for students and trying to seek out. So for students, trying to seek out what other things can I do that are in my comfort zone, but still push me a little bit outside of my comfort zone. And that has been helping with the anxiety of being away from home and meeting new people or navigating life independently as I'm at college. So we try to incorporate different aspects of that so students can dip their toe into the experience, so they start walking out a little bit more and more into the water. So
I love that. Well, and you made a really interesting point when you're talking about sort of that challenge that we see for, I feel like the pandemic was a really interesting divergence for extroverts and introverts being able to sort of, either hole away or spend time sort of distance from folks. But one thing that you made a really interesting point about was sort of how you needed to be present for your students and find ways to take care of yourself. I want to dig into that a little bit more. What are the things that help you sort of navigate the resilience that you need to sort of show up every day, but then also thinking about things like, how does that play out for mental health for you? Like, sort of what are the ways in which you take care of yourself so you can be who you need to be for other people?
Yeah, so now I've been working at this institution for about 4 years now. So when I first started, I want to be able to give you a good answer because it was all work and I didn't have a work-life balance and I didn't know how to do that. But what I've learned is throughout these years, I've actually learned that I always knew that I was introverted, but I didn't know that I'm not really a social type of person, or I don't like, it drains me a lot more to be social and to doing things like this. So to help with my, sorry, I'm also at work.
There's the students, they're coming, yeah. They want to join the live stream.
Sorry. But also to help with my resilience or to keep going, even though I've discovered this about myself, I've learned to block off times in my day that I don't have meetings. I'm not meeting with anybody, so I can recharge myself. So then that way I'm more ready to engage with others in other spaces as well. So at a separate time. So I do try to make sure that I make time for myself to just do nothing at all, because that's what, as an introvert, that's what fuels me. But then also I've tried to, I listen to music a lot. One thing I guess what recharges me with music is I listen to a lot of gospel music. So one of my favorite songs that helps me to realize my purpose again, because sometimes I'm doing a lot of things and I'm helping other students, helping students and trying to help them navigate their stresses or their journey through college, that I forget about all the things that I'm doing with my college experience and working and my business. And so there's a song called Conqueror by Vashawn Mitchell that I listen to. And it's kind of like, it's like a power song for me. So it's very funny. I've seen on some other TED Talks or some other streaming things that I've seen, they have talked about like the superhero stance. I don't know if have you ever heard of that?
Power stance, yeah.
Yeah, so the superhero power stance, sometimes when I feel like I'm drained and I'm like, okay, you know what? I feel like I'm losing my way or I don't know what's going on. I turn on that song and then I just kind of stand in my power pose, and it actually really does work. So if anybody feels like they need that extra pick-me-up, play your favorite song, and you don't have to do it in public. Just stand in your own room, close your door or something, and just do that for a couple of seconds, and it does really recharge me. But those are just a few things that I like to do. So listening to music and just taking time for myself and remembering that I need to take that. Even though I'm helping other people, that helps me to then feel like, okay, if I take care of myself first, now I can take care of you. Because I think that that's something that some people don't realize that they can do. They feel that they have to keep giving and helping other people. But you need to take care of yourself first and do what helps you to recharge and stay resilient. And then that way you can help others and be a more effective in your practices to help out.
I love that. I know we're particularly big fans of power poses ourselves, so thank you for lifting that up for all of us to hear. I'm curious too, like you're talking about gospel music and a particular song. Um, One thing that we're always curious about as a team, especially for folks who are just looking for something to lift. I know you gave a really great suggestion. What is a song that you think everybody should hear right now?
Oh, during this time, I feel like there's so many songs. I actually don't have a particular one right now. Maybe I'll think of one at the end. Something will come to me.
Maybe we can come back to it. I know one thing for the folks watching, just to kind of give you some ideas of resilient tips for resilience, coping skills, sort of just building a better life. We have some really great staff that have worked pretty diligently to not just pull together tips from folks who have joined us here, like Crystal on Voices of Resilience, but just in general. So if you follow us on @ResilientToday on Instagram in particular, you'll see kind of a nonstop stream of consciousness of positivity, of uplifting words, of tips and skills. And from that, you can also find our Linktree bio, where you can find all sorts of resources that are prepared like this. And I think I'll be curious to see what your song ends up being, Crystal, to see sort of how that can be added to a playlist that we're building. So hopefully we can go there later on. But kind of breaking it up a little bit here and thinking about some other topics, one of the things that seems to not be something that we can ignore right now is sort of the current state of affairs, unrest, transition that we're in as a country right now. And so as we're coming upon Martin Luther King Day on Monday, how does this feel for you right now? What's kind of going through your mind and your heart as we're thinking about kind of where we are as a country and how you sort of translate that into your day-to-day with your students?
Yeah, so there's a lot going on. Especially with the inaugural. It's not only going to be MLK Day on Monday, but we also have the inauguration on Wednesday. So all of this stuff coming in. One thing that as we navigate through the times that we're in, I think a very big thing, and this is something that I feel helps me or when other people do this as well. I think that it's very important for people to start looking at the world in the shoes of others. Because sometimes we get into ourselves and we're like, oh, well, this is my experience, or this is what's going on, or I don't understand what's going on with them, or I don't. Yeah, it's a lot of that happens. I mean, this happens with students too, just non-racial climate or anything like that. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we don't fully understand the experience of people, especially even as we're talking about mental health. You don't know what anybody else is going through. So I'm going to talk about a story about my dad. So it's funny because my father, like I said, I'm very introverted, and I'm working to be more extroverted, or in this position when I like to say that I'm a different person when I'm at work. So this isn't fully real Crystal. This is the power Crystal that you all are getting. Yeah. But my father, he is more outgoing. He's going to speak to anybody. He's going to say hi or try to engage with people. And one thing that has always stuck with me, and I think that that's how I work here at the college, he's always said, you need to speak to somebody. You need to say hi to them. Even if you don't know them, just say hi or smile or do this. And I'm like, Dad, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't know them. I'm not going to talk to them. He's like, no, you need to do that because he was like, this is the thing that stuck with me. He was like, you don't know if your smile is going to be the thing that gets them through the day. So for me, I live my life with everything that's going on with, you don't know how it's affecting somebody else. So let me not be the hinder to making it worse for them. So to go back to your question, I think what we can do during this time is start asking ourselves, even though I may not understand or fully be able to relate, what can I do to help somebody that may be struggling? Or what can I do to better understand their point of view? You don't have to agree with what's going on, but you do need to start understanding people, because we are a diverse population with diverse minds. Everybody doesn't think the same. So if you can better understand the point of view from someone else, then it helps you to grow as a person, because now you have multiple perspectives in your head rather than just your one perspective. So I think that that's very important during this time, is seeing what you can do, or taking yourself outside of your body and trying to figure out, okay, so how is this affecting another person? What are the little things that I can do to help someone else during this time of COVID and the racial world that we're in? So.
I love that. Ron, I'm really glad you brought up, obviously, inauguration thrown into it. We got a crazy week in front of us to
Yes.
try to navigate, but I'm curious, especially now. So I'm thinking about sort of, we quote MLK Jr. frequently in all different contexts, in all different ways. As you're thinking about it for yourself, what from him and from examples of other Black leaders who have served in the civil rights era, and thinking of where we are now, what sort of advice or thoughts stick to you right now as you're trying to navigate? Obviously, you just gave a fantastic sort of insight around, like, how do we sort of, move around the lantern and get to know folks and understand perspective, but what sort of gives you grounding or sort of a base to kind of navigate through the time right now?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing for me is just the message of unity and equity and equality. I think those are the biggest things for me, because we are all in one. We all go, like with this COVID stuff, it didn't affect one person. It affected us all, and we all had a very interesting 2020. And having that perspective and understanding that we need to be a neighbor or a brother to our neighbor. So you are my neighbor. So what can I do to help you out, Erik? Like, what can I do to better support your needs as a person, as a whole? So I think the biggest thing is realizing that we all are one, and change is not a one person thing. There's so many things that we need to work on to develop and to better their experiences for everyone, because we all are human. So what can we do to help my neighbor? What can I do to help my neighbor and better support them in the world? So
fantastic advice. Thank you for sharing that, and thinking also about sort of how we move forward, and not just now. I mean, obviously, we've seen a pretty rough year, to say the least. But again, it's sort of a point in time, sort of a blip in the larger universe of time. But like, as you're thinking ahead to 2021 and beyond, sort of what gives you hope and what gives you optimism to keep moving forward?
One is just life in general. Like, there's so much out there that me personally that I can do, that as I'm working in college settings, that these college students are going to do. So it pushes me to know, like, okay, this may be strange for us all, but at the end of the day, we're gonna just keep going, and we are gonna have a chance to experience new and different things. So that's one thing, life in general. But for me personally, it's my family. Family and friends, they have been a great supporter of everything that I've been doing. So my resiliency comes from wanting to be able to provide for them in the future, and to show them not only that I can do it, but that they can do it as well. So although I'm not the oldest in my family, or like I have older cousins and younger cousins, just showing them that there's so much that we all can do still. That kind of motivates me to keep going. And I just love to see how people are growing and developing. So just the fact that is still a possibility for all of us, no matter what's going on, that's very inspiring for me to keep pushing through in 2021. So.
And I think we can all relate very well to the idea of, well, maybe we can change, maybe we can move forward, and at least having the hope for that is what will get us through. Tell me about this. So I know we're getting closer to the end of our time here. What does resilience mean to you? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, so resilience for me is the strive to keep pushing through no matter how many walls you have. So you may have you may have a variety of walls for a variety of things, but always being able to, no matter, even if you get into run into a wall, figuring out some type of way to knock it down or to go around it or to find people to help you with that. So resiliency also is not just a one person thing. Like, I can't be resilient on my own. I need other people to help me with that. So finding your group of people to help you keep going and for you to start inspiring other people to continue on as well. So that's kind of what my non-Webster definition of it is. I was like, I'm also a very visual learner, so I like to use more analogies and imagery when I speak, because that's what I see in my head when I see that word.
Well, maybe in this case we can help you out a little bit. So for folks who want to learn more about sort of how resilience plays out in the work that Lost and Found does, and sort of being at the defining purpose, it actually, I think you could have written our definition for us. I think Merriam-Webster could use a few tips from you. But if you go to resilienttoday.org, you can learn more about the programs that Lost and Found delivers and our resilience model. So, which actually aligns really well to what Crystal just said. We focus on resilience for self, helping individuals build those skills and those coping mechanisms that help them navigate life on their own, so to speak. But we know that there's more than that. And so resilience for others, we provide peer support training to folks in a variety of settings. And resilience for community, we build advocates, we build networks and policies and programs that make a community stronger and more resilient as well. So if you want to learn more about Lost and Found's programs, you can go to resilienttoday.org. And on that note, let's start to close this thing out, shall we? So one thing I would love to hear from you, Crystal, thinking about all the topics that we've covered today, what are sort of 3 takeaways you'd recommend us to think about, based on the work that you do to get into 2021 with the right mindset and move forward with sort of the steps that'll help us live out our passion?
Yeah, so I think the first thing that I think that we should take away is you are going to have things that try to knock you off of your passions or make you feel like you can't be resilient. But the biggest thing that you need to remember is your why. Like, why did you start? So when you feel like you're getting off path or you don't feel motivated to keep going, revert back to, okay, so why did I decide to do this to begin with? So that's the big thing. The first thing is the figuring out your why. The second thing is that sometimes it's not a one person effort. Seek out help from other people, whether that's your friends or your family, or if at your school you have advisors or counselors or whoever you need. Find your people to help you during this time. So yeah, resiliency is not a one person show. It is your show, but there are other actors that can help you out as you navigate it. And then also, I think the third thing would be, as we look into the resiliency of others, try to look into what's going on within them. So try to put yourself in their shoes to better understand how you can better support them. So everybody's not going to need the exact same support. So when you are looking to help out your friends, if they're feel like they're not striving for their passion, or they're getting knocked off their paths, make it unique on how you're helping them out. Figure out what they need specifically. So that finding that why, finding your group of people, and then making those the efforts to help others unique to the individuals.
I love that. Thanks for sharing that, Crystal. And
no problem.
Give you another shot. Do you have a song that came to mind?
Okay, I think so. This is a very, I guess it's a specific area, but it can work for anybody. I'm gonna say "Run the World" by Beyonce.
Yes.
Because even though it says it's for the girls to run the world, anybody can push through and run the world. Like sometimes you need to understand, like, yes, I can do this. Like that's me. Like I can run it. So I think that should definitely be on anybody's playlist, and just to give you motivation that you are able to make a difference no matter what. So.
I love that. Well, I don't know anybody who really dislikes Beyonce, so I think you just hit a great one for all of us.
Like maybe I cheated. Maybe I cheated a little.
No, you're good. I know we'll be adding or putting together a playlist of music as these suggestions come along. So song number 1 just got added. So thanks for sharing your favorite. Last thing to kind of close out the day, is there anything else to add, or anything else you think people should know right now?
No. Well, although we're in 2021, that doesn't mean, just the year doesn't mean that things are going to change. It's you that's going to change. So I think this year we need to change our mindset of everything that's going on. So right now, COVID is still around, and there's other things that may be going on personally with you, but you need to have your mindset of you want it to be better, and finding your support and figuring out how you can make those changes. So I guess gonna say setbacks happen for everybody. So knowing that is not unique, and you're not alone in that. But if you just change your mindset to tell yourself, I'm going to be resilient, I'm going to push through, I'm going to make my passions and goals and things that I set, no matter what's going on, then you'll be able to do it. So.
Great advice. Thank you for sharing that, Crystal. And while in the meantime, I'll look forward to your 2021 bingo card. If things might not change very much from 2020, I'm kidding. But no, thank you for your perspective, Crystal. It's been such a wonderful time to have you on here. And again, thank you for all of your insight. This has been fantastic.
Yes, no, thank you so much for allowing me to do this. I had a lot of fun. I hope that those that were listening, you all took something from it. But yeah, I really enjoyed this, and I'm thankful that you all do this for your community, because it is needed for all, no matter what field you're in. Or I really enjoy this. So thank you for putting this on.
No, thank you. I know we consider you a part of our community, so thank you for joining us for this. This is really great.
Yes, thank you.
Well, with that being said for today, folks, we're going to close this out. Next week, we have a slight shift in our schedule with a new guest that's joining us, Jackie Miskimins from Vantage Point Solutions in Mitchell, South Dakota. We're going to spend a little bit of time talking about the new 3-digit National Suicide Prevention Lifeline number, and how a company based in our backyard here in South Dakota is really on the front end of helping rural communities implement the new 988 number by the end of 2022. So next week's episode should be fantastic. We hope you'll join us, particularly at a time where policy is at the forefront. Policy is the debate on the lips of most people in our community right now. And so thank you all for joining us today. My name is Erik Muckey with Lost&Found, and we hope that you enjoyed our broadcast today. And again, if you're looking to learn more about Lost&Found and the work we do, you can follow us here on social media, or you can go to our website, resilienttoday.org. So folks, thanks for joining us today. We really appreciate your time. And as we do every week, we hope you'll join us next time. Thanks, everybody.